Hey guys, welcome back to the Chaotic Kitz channel, where I, Michelle, document my life here on YouTube as I try to become a full-time author, while also traversing the world of multiple personalities. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around, but today we are going to be talking about Grace and how she gets into the mood of writing her books. Since we are somebody who has multiple pen names, it's easier to separate how each person gets into their work in progresses based on how their documents look like, what kind of writing utensils they use. So yeah, let's get into it. Hey guys! So today we're going to be talking about how I get into the mindset of Grace Kitz. So if you guys do not know, I am somebody who is a multi-genre author. I don't really ever say that, but I do write in multiple pen names, and each pen name has a specific brand to them, or like they have a very specific goal, purpose, genre that they write in and stuff. But today we are going to be talking about Grace Kitz. Grace is actually, so something you should know about us is we are a system. Never been officially diagnosed with anything, but we do have a working diagnosis of it. We just have to get, we have to go somewhere to get an official diagnosis, and they just, where I live, it would cost a lot of money, or you'd have to have court orders, and we're just not going to go down that rabbit hole, so we're just going to live life how it is. But so Grace Kitz, she is our Christian author. We are Catholic. We are Christian Catholic people. People I say as in we are, all of us, or a good portion of us in the system, are Catholic. There's some that are not Catholic, but we're working through that. But so today we're going to be talking about what Grace works in, like I said before. And now each one of our pen names, so Grace, Shelley, and Maris, they each have their set stuff that they use. So like specifically, like these pens that I'm about to show you are specifically used for Grace. And like if someone else writes in them, because I remember we were working on something for Shelley, and we were then going to write something down for, I think, Grace's works. And Shelley was out, Grace was out, and she was using Shelley's stuff, and she's like, I feel like I'm going to break this pen. And that's just because that's how the pens that Shelley uses. But we're talking about Grace. So let's get into what Grace uses, sorry. And I should note that she has two different projects she's working on. There is the young adult novels that she's working on, which we primarily am currently working on. And there's also the picture books that she has written. And each one of them have a different kind of set to them. Not necessarily in the idea that, like it's a whole different set of pens and stuff. It's more that they just have different colors, and different colors associated with different things. We've really learned that like color association for us really helps. Yeah, so let's just talk about Grace, for our young adult novels real quick. So for our young adult novels, we use a lot of different colored pens. We use these, Pen and Gear .7s. This is what they look like. We currently are only using the green colored pen. This dark green is representative of JJ's story. Why is he green? I have no idea. It was just what we picked at the very beginning. Because I remember we were going through, like, we had an idea. We were going through, like, being like, okay, this character, and this character. We had 4 picked out. And we were like, okay, we need a way to distinguish them. And we decided with colors. I can't honestly remember what colors we had for the 4 characters. It looks like they were green, blue, pink, and light green. Like, these are the color Sharpies to go with them. We do have a Sharpie for JJ. These were the colors that we picked out for the 4 characters. But as time progresses, I am learning that I am wanting to do different storylines for those characters. It's just, I'm evolving as a creator, but also those were very loose ideas of stories. Because let's take JJ for example. JJ, I didn't realize he was going to be a system until I wrote the scene. But yeah, so JJ is represented by a dark green color. I will say this pen kind of like fluctuates between working and not working, which really bothers me. So I did have to take out some other green pens that I had. Luckily, these are the same like shade. But these are Paper Made Ink Joys. There's yeah, they're both Paper Made Ink Joys. They're just these ones. Grace likes them. It's just she would definitely prefer using these ones just because that is her color, like that is her brand or how she wants to write them, I guess. It's just very much association kind of thing. And then with Grace, we also do use black pens, but we don't have specific black pens that we use. We just have these two that we have, that we got over the years, so we just use them. But for the notebook that Grace uses for our young adult novels, we use the spiral bound notebook. It has Saved by Grace on it. This is one that we got from a local Catholic shop that we have that's in our town or another nearby town. It looks like it's made by Christian Art Gifts. It looks like, I don't know. We just use this. It has little scripture verses on the bottom, but we don't really associate with them. We just use them to write down page numbers and stuff. Basically what we do on a lot of our books, we have like, we just keep track of word count, like being like chapter 1 has this many words, or like chapter 1, page 1, this is how long it was, and going all the way through. This is just act 2, what we have. We do have a tab for it too, which is rare for us to have tabs. The next page has kind of like word counts on it. Then we were going to start editing it, but then we got our edits back from our editor. And, we got our edits back from our editor. So we're doing a really deep dive of each chapter, really editing the story. And we're currently on chapter 7, and there's 20 chapters to go through. Chapters 13 through 20 have not been touched by our editor, but we're wanting to get them prepped and ready for edits so she can edit it and not be like so much the same edits that she has to tell me every time, if that makes sense. And we're planning on getting that book done the 14th. And send it off to her. The reason we're doing this is just so then, so it's the best quality I can give her, but also, why are we doing it? Sorry. But we're doing it so then we have a deadline to just know, like, this is when it needs to happen kind of thing. But yes, that's kind of what we use for JJ's project, or what we use for what's going to, eventually come into the other young adult novels we're working on. I'm going to take a little break, get a little sip of water, and then we'll go into what Grace uses for our picture books. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the picture books that Grace is working on. So basically the picture books, we don't have as much utensils required, or as deep of we don't keep a track of word count as badly as we we keep word counts for every other project we do. But for the picture books, we're kind of just I don't want to say half doing it, but it's just not as in-depth. So we only have a few things that we use. We use this orange pen. Again, it's a Paper Made, a pen and gear, sorry. This is just the orange that we use. We also use the black pens too, but no rhyme or reason. We just use the black pens. And then the notebook that we use is this one that says trust in the Lord. It's got Proverbs 3:5 on it. Basically with this notebook, we originally had kind of ideas that we wanted to do, but we're we want to do a picture book on every saint, so we're not going to really do a lot of plotting, I guess, or a lot of planning for it. But so on every page so far, what we've really been doing is like putting the saint's name on it and then going through a list of like their quotes and stuff or key moments to like remember in their books. We do have how long the pages, like how long the story, not the story, how long the picture book is. But we don't necessarily always go based off of it because that's just what round one of it is. But yeah, so we have 6 of them done, it looks like. 2, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 of them done. We have not pursued much with this yet. I'm wanting to say, so with the Grace Kitz pen name, we are wanting to get them traditionally published, or at least send them to Catholic publishing houses and get them to pick it up. I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but that is our kind of goal. But what we are wanting to do is with the picture books, once we get a good number of them in our hands, get them kind of like, so we have our author, like how we have our author voice in the stories established, then we can send them, what we want to do is send them off to our local priests. So I live in a very rural community. There's like, I think 7 or 8 priests around me. We're a very Catholic heavy place. Not necessarily all in the same town, but local towns around me. So I would love to send them to them and be like, hey, do you think this is something that I could pursue, kind of thing? And I would have loved to do self-publishing with these, but picture books just cost a lot of money to self-publish, and I don't think I'll ever have that much money, or like not right now have that money to do it, especially considering I'm trying to publish the Bugstopia books as well. So I just need one of my series to not be in my hands, solely me working on it, if that makes sense. But I would love to get the priest's opinions on it, and then also maybe see, like, I don't know what will happen with that. Maybe they can help me get, like, recommend me a publishing house that I should probably query for, or like send my manuscripts to, or maybe they can, I don't know what will happen, but just kind of get the priest's ideas. I've sent the picture books to a couple of friends. They really enjoyed it. And like they did make a comment that they thought it was going to be more for kids, but I'm like, I feel like the Saint books are more meant for adults to read them to the kids and like religion classes almost, or like have me read them and then kind of go into history about the saint. That's kind of what I'm envisioning for it. Yeah, it's just something I'm envisioning. And then for the young adult novels, I still want those to be picked up by like whatever publishing house I do. I want them to be picked up by a publishing house, strictly because I feel like it makes the most sense having them all be published by the same publishing house, or at least be published through publishing houses. I do know that with the young adult novels, because we love religion, we love our faith, but we do look at things through, I don't want to say a slightly darker lens, but like we do look at things the unconventional way. That's how we've always been. Like we have ideas to have like a parent, like a single parent, or 2-mom parent, like a kid who has 2 moms, a kid who has 2 dads, like different normalized things that happen in everyday life, if that makes sense. Or like what happens in the 21st century, like right now with like LGBTQ plus, I don't know all the letters, but like, I don't want to say non-typical, but like taking a look at every story that can be out there in the world. Also like just with JJ, like JJ is a story of a kid who has some sort of dissociative disorder, sorting out his life as he discovers things about his past, about his grandfather, and just things like that. And it's looking at things through a non-traditional lens. And especially considering, like, the grandfather that JJ has such a problem with is actually a priest. Like, and I can't imagine him not being a priest, or at least a deacon. And just showing how, like, how his mind has, I don't want to say corrupted the idea of him, but, like, how his mind has like, I don't know how much to give, but, like, how his mind has associated this, everything that has to do with the Catholic faith in a negative lens because of things that happened to him in his past. But his parts realize that, like, his faith is deeply connected with all of them, even though there's a part who's against it, which is similar to our story with parts being against our faith, but they're not willingly to, like, my parts know that they're, I don't want to say my parts know, but, like, we all have an understanding in my system that, like, we are not, like, yes, we are all different, but we are still going to allow us to still have our deep-rooted faith. And I feel like JJ's story is telling, like, as much as I would like to say JJ's story is not as, like, personal story like ours, I feel like it really is. Like, a lot of his altars have connections to us. Not necessarily connections to us, but his parts remind us of our parts and stuff like that. But so that's all really quite interesting and stuff. But anyways, I am going to now go into our computer. I'm just gonna have you guys, like, set up on the side. I am going to show you guys what my documents look like, and kind of dissect how things look on, like, the more internet side, like, computer side, rather than all these physical products. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm sorry if this looks weird, but you're just not gonna see me through this. But so this is basically how my Google Drive is set up. I'm not showing you all of it, but I have different tabs separating each one of my pen names and then their working progresses. So we've got the board books, a possibility for middle grade. These are just old things that we worked on that are no longer valid. Then we have the young adult novels. Then we have the Moving to Scripture series. I'm sorry, my camera keeps fading in and out. And then there's these two, the old things again, but we've got these two documents. I'm going to show you the Moving into Scripture book notes series first. So this is what it basically looks like. It's just a lot of, like this right up here is our talk, like, us just talking to ourselves, being like, what is the idea for the young adult, like, Moving into Scripture series? Then we got students and kind of a little background information on them. A series order, which isn't very valid anymore. And like I said, we have it color coordinated. So JJ's story is that. Gracie's story is the green. Aaliyah's story was originally the pink. And then Martha's story is this blue. Ideas, like, we just have basic ideas, like, I don't want to say basic ideas, but, like, how the series is supposed to be run, almost, if that makes sense. But to the side, we have different characters, POVs listed out, or, like, their story. So this is JJ's. I have a picture of what I think JJ looks like. And with JJ, I have, the first part is just him and his altar, so I have JJ and his parts. And I don't know if you guys can tell really, but, like, each part is a different color. Again, something that I just associate with JJ is different colors. And so he has, I think, 10 parts. I don't know, I think it's either 9 or 10, or maybe 8. I don't remember. But he has a few altars. Then this is his family life, other characters we miss, well, like, the misfits, because he's going to be connected with them, school classmates, his class schedule, storyline ideas. Basically, this is just things that I've been thinking about with the JJ story whenever we do planning. And then this is just notes. Then we go into the working document. This is what Act 1 looks like. Ooh. Hold on. Well, I'm going to scroll, I guess. But this is basically what how our documents look. I'm gonna go back to the front. It's the first one. But so basically we have From Home to Scripture, JJ's story, Act 1. We broke it down into acts because otherwise our editor would have had to read like 100,000 words in one go. This part right here is all new that we just added. But the rest is our story. We just have chapters. Each chapter looks about the same. We usually, whenever we do first drafts, we sometimes will have like fancy text for what chapter it is. But we just didn't do that for JJ or for this series just because it's too much work almost. Then on the side, we do have all the acts listed out. We are now just getting used to using the tabs feature. But then we have Act 2, the fun game section. With this, we do have some more fun text, I feel like. We have these name POV chapters because this is when JJ's alters really start forming. So we have Julian's there, and we have where's the break at? There's a like page right here. So this is like a page break, then going into a different POVs, basically representing like the difference of headspaces and the different of alters. I'll just kind of show you. This one doesn't have all the chapters in it because I took it off and then I'm editing them on Word. But basically this is how it's going to look. So it's going to have like chapter 13, Julian, page break, Jay, and stuff like that. That's basically how this story all goes. But now I'm going to take you to what my Word document looks like. And now on Word, this is basically, hold on. This is basically how I envision the book to look. Let me push you more over here. So I do have like the title of the story. I have a copyright page, a dedication, a blank page. This is just how, if I was formatting, and this is how it would be formatted. And then you can see like I go into chapter 1, this is like I would have some sort of image art up here, and then it just goes throughout the story. It's even got the chapter head, I mean not the chapter headers, but the headers, the footer, page numbers and stuff like that. Basically that's the story. And then over here on the side with the navigation, it has each of the chapters listed out as a heading. And then for whenever we get to Act 2, we still do have the chapter title. Then we have the character's point of view. And then it'll go down to the page break, wherever that is. If I can find it. Okay. Page break ends over here, but that's not relevant right now. And then it goes into Jay's perspective, and then it just writes and continues on with that storyline. When it's over here on Word, I would like to think that it is more polished. Well, not necessarily more polished, but this just helps me make it look most like a real story. It makes us feel like we're writing a story almost. And basically with this, like, we typically work on Word first, write the story here on Word, then go back to, we do the stuff on Word, then go over to Google Docs, copy and paste it, do any grammar that needs to be checked. We do like 5 rounds of grammar because we feel like we're terrible at it. We switch it from Word to Google Docs, and then we send the Google Doc to our editor, get a printed copy of it, and then we start edits. And basically that's all that we do for JJ. Like I said, we're still working on it, so there's still plenty to go through. I'm going to take a little break, and we're going to go into what the picture books look like, which aren't that exciting, but let's take a look at that. Okay, here we are back on the main page. So we got Grace Kitz books under our picture books. Then we have all the picture books. These ones we are more focusing on getting traditionally published, or like these ones are formatted for querying rather than just having it just be the text. So let's go into one of them. This is what I think this is the first one that we did, was St. Carlo Acutis. So we have it formatted like it's a picture book, like actually going to be queried. We do have text up here, but those are more personal information, like my phone number and address, and I just don't feel comfortable sharing that here because you guys have none of your business. But then we have the title, which the title needs work on, because literally it's just called The Great St. Carlo Acutis, and I'm like, that sounds like a dumb title. But then we have Grace Kitz, and then it goes into the text. Basically that's it. It's nothing too fancy. But I will say every saint book that I do is like, we'll start with, there are many saints in the world, ... But have you heard of the, whatever the title, like whatever the saint's kind of known for? But yeah, this is that, and I really enjoy it. Like, these picture books are so nice to do. They're just nice, simple breaks. I can get like 2 of them done a month. 2 of them done a day. I typically can. I just choose to only do like 1, you know? But let me go back to the top. You guys can see me, and then we'll talk more. Okay, guys, so that is basically how I get into the mindset of Grace Kitz and how the documents for her are all set up. I will say I will be doing other videos like this for both Maris and Shelly. Each have their different setups. It's just how things are for us. And it really helps, like, I don't want to say ground one particular person in the story, because we are, like, since we are a system, we all work together to make the story as best as we can. But, like, you know, Grace is the main forerunner for the story. And, like, if she's like, I don't like that idea, then she can change it. Like, it's her story at the end of the day, and we all acknowledge that. But also with Grace, we do a lot of, like, timers, like, word count, like, writing sprints. It's mostly for whenever we're drafting, just because with editing, we like to read the whole chapter read its whole chapter at once, and edit as we go. I will say, so with our kitchen timer, we have 25-minute writing sprints. Basically, on average, we can write anywhere from 600 to upwards 800 words per 25-minute writing sprint. Then we take a 5-minute break. And then whenever it comes to edits, we will typically do just one read through, which basically takes us about an hour. We do about 3 edits per edit. And that takes us about 2.5 hours, actually, because a half an hour goes to editing what our editor gave us, and then the other half is working on 2 rounds of edits, one in Google Docs, one in Word, and then back into Google Docs. But yeah, that's how it's kind of go. That's how Grace does it. Each one of my pen names does have a different way of doing things, and I will have a video for each one of them, maybe this month, I don't know. I'm not doing a lot of writing vlogs right now due to the fact that we are primarily working on edits, and it feels weird editing, like, doing an edit through the book while, like, I don't know, recording a video, because it's all very much the same thing, like, oh, we edited, edit, take out words, add words, kind of thing. But I will say, as of right now, we have taken out, I haven't done the math, but I think we've taken out about 500 words from the story. It started at 59,167. We're on chapter 7, and we're at 609 words. So we have taken out words. Just not like massive chunks. But yeah, that's kind of how it's going. Like I said, we'll do other videos like this for Shelly and Maris. But that's all I gotta say for today. Keep making fantasies come true, one story at a time. And I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye!